Search for it, my friend.
It's Hot Affairs.
4 years course, metamorphosing into 6 years.
And news that
Affects you.
What an academic academic yo in their leadership rococo, leadership brababare.
it's all the serious stuff.
But with a light-hearted twist.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
And I'm Aogo Obo.
Join us 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday
Right here.
on Hard Facts.
The front pages, hot off the press, served to you fresh. We present to you local and international newspaper headlines for the day with in-depth analysis from seasoned professionals. Start your day the right way on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Well, you've been asking what stories are the papers talking about today, and we're looking at those stories, bringing them to you on your radio for the next few minutes, 25 minutes thereabouts. And we're doing this live on Facebook and YouTube at Nigeria Info FM. You can join us right now. If you're doing a search for us on Facebook, it's Nigeria Info 99.3. You can also search YouTube, same Nigeria Info 99.3. I'm Wemimo Adewuni, welcoming you to the show called The Front Pages this morning. And I'll be reading your comments from WhatsApp. The number is 08095975805, 08095975805. On Twitter, we are at Nigeria Info FM. Rotimi Sankore is stuck in some horrendous traffic in the heart of Lagos today. Rotimi, good morning.
Morning.
That side, though. Tell us what's going on there. Let's do situation report before we get into the stories.
Well, it's a nightmare. It turned out that some people were involved in a multiple crash.
Oh, dear.
And then they all came down to argue in the middle of the road.
Oh, dear.
And, as we're all going past them, we're all abusing them because, they all stay back of about 1.5 hours.
Wow. So sorry about that. But again, that drives to the point that people are scared that if they leave the road, the person who hit them would not stop. And so they have to bear the cost themselves. There goes car insurance. Well, welcome to the show, Rotimi Sankore. He's doing this with me over the phone.
It's okay. I'm well cleared and prepped. So.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good to go. Good to go. Let's start with security stories this morning, and it's across all the papers we have on the table today. The Daily Trust has this one. It's the biggest story here. They did an exclusive report how illicit weapons fuel Nigeria's insecurity. How illicit weapons fuel Nigeria's insecurity. Gun runners ferry arms on donkeys, on camels, via illegal routes. There's also an infograph here. It's a fantastic report, by the way. It's got an infograph with the routes through which, sources from which these arms are taken or stolen or bought from the Nigerian military and the police stockpiles, and locally manufactured ones also. You have Libya, Mali, Niger, Benin, and then through Chad. Also, it shows here that 70% of the 500 million illegal arms in West Africa are in Nigeria. Rotimi.
Well, I think we need to be careful about how we look at this, because normally what happens is that when there is a conflict, the weapons go to where the conflict is. The weapons on their own don't generate the conflict. If a state starts to fail, and there is, mass banditry, mass extremism, those people go in search of the weapons, and then the dealers, bring the weapons to them.
It's like a demand and supply thing. Once there's high need for the weapons in some areas, they find their way there.
Yes.
If you
anywhere there is a conflict, states start to fail, or there is semi-failure, the weapons start going there because the dealers want to make money.
Right. It's a business.
It's a business like any other business. And if you have a scenario like the Gaddafi, the collapse of Libya, and all Gaddafi's armed, all the bunkers and everything full of arms, people have looted them and they are selling them on the black market.
Right, that's what we have here. This report shows that there are 640 million weapons circulating globally, and it's estimated that 100 million of these are in Africa, 30 million in sub-Saharan Africa, 8 million in West Africa. Of these 8 million, 70% is in Nigeria. And there's a further breakdown. 59% of these arms are in the hands of civilians, 38% are owned by armed forces, 2.8%, that's pretty low, by the police, 0.2% by armed groups. Rotimi, should we be worried? Civilians with 59%, the police with 2.8% of these arms.
Well, as the state continues to collapse, the armed groups will then become more organized. So yes, of course, we should be seriously worried. But again, it's like the government is not paying attention to the issues that will make this worse in the future. I often say that in the 4 years of this present Buhari government, more than 60 million children are going to be born. Unless the investment is made for their education, vocational training, jobs, all the things that will create a stable society. In about 18 to 21 years from now, when they are young adults, if those over 60 million kids are not living in a stable society, many of them will go into banditry, many will be drawn into extremism. With this kind of arms in circulation, it can only get worse. I mean, look at Somalia,
right.
Look at DRC, look at Yemen, look at Afghanistan. You only need to look at those countries to see what Nigeria could look like unless those investments are made now. And don't forget that around 2050, Nigeria's population would have doubled, and around that time, the country would have run out of oil. So the central government will not have resources. It's even possible that the army and the police may be owed salary for months, if not years. So as the country starts to fraction, you will also have a lot of armed people that will be joining a lot of these gangs.
Well,
we've seen it in many parts of the world.
Talking about owing salaries, there's a report on the Blueprint newspaper. Federal government owing us 2 billion naira. This is coming from protesting Southwest NSCDC retirees. They're crying out here. Federal government is owing us 2 billion naira. I mean, these were people who worked with the NSCDC. They're now retired. They are trained in handling weapons. There we go. Well, let's look at other security stories. Let's start with the Blueprints newspaper, which I have in front of me. Niger bandits launching attack from Gidane Kaduna camp, says CP and others. Buhari warns against reprisals in Katsina. Senate will act on killings and others, says Lawan on the front page of the Blueprints. This story is across all the papers today. It's here on the Daily Sun. Katsina, Buhari advises against reprisal attack. We will work out lasting solution to insecurity. I can't wait to see what the solution would be. This is reported by the Daily Sun. The story is here on the Daily on this day. Buhari condemns Katsina attacks. Masari commiserates with victims. Let's take a look at the Nation. Let's see. Big story here. Why service chiefs will not be sacked now. This is an explanation by the presidency. Troops foil Boko Haram's attack on Damaturu. NBF saying rejig security architecture. This is coming from the Nation newspaper. It's also the biggest story on the Vanguard. Banditry, kidnapping, don't revenge. Buhari tells victims, tells Katsina communities not to mete out capital punishment on bandits. 2 visiting Fulanis killed by residents led to fresh attack. That's Masari saying National Assembly remains resolute in finding solutions. Tension in Anambra Delta over killings. That's from the Vanguard. It's also reported by The Guardian. Why bandits attacked, killed over 30 persons in Katsina villages by Masari. And on the Daily Independent, revenge killings in Katsina is unacceptable. That's coming in from the president. Another story here. Middle Belt leaders urge federal government to redesign security architecture, ask Buhari to fulfill promise to rescued abducted persons. Rotimi.
So finally, this has caught up with the president in the States.
Right.
I mean, we'll probably face a scenario where the president will only be able to go to his ranch by helicopter in and out. I mean, the Northwest is facing a serious crisis. You know, when we count out of school children, we don't count the young adults that did not have access to education, are not employable, and therefore are being recruited by bandits. The political elites have got their strategy wrong. While it is reasonably obvious that the service chiefs, in terms of their overall strategy, don't understand necessarily what they should do. There is another problem. Everybody is focusing on the service chiefs. What about the governors? What about the governors?
Right.
I mean, the governors in the states where the insecurity is most, over the last 20 to 30 years, these are the states where the least investment has been made in education. The least investment has been made in vocational training. The least investment has been made in jobs and in industrialization. Nobody is talking about them.
Well, it appears that the governors merely just come, out and put up their hands and say, well, we are also helpless. We can't do anything. Most of the time you hear them calling on the federal government to come to their rescue, like there's nothing they can do about the situation.
The situation in the Northeast did not start today. And by the way, it includes the president. The president was the current president was the last military administrator of Northeast Nigeria in the mid-70s. He was the first governor of Borno State from around 1976. All that problem in the Northeast, which has led to the spread of extremism today, is an accumulation of underinvestment in education, in jobs, in vocational training. The collapse of Lake Chad, of course, has not helped matters, which is what accelerated situation in the Northeast more than the Northwest. And millions of fishers and farmers, fishermen and women and farmers lost their livelihood. Now, in the Northwest, that was a bit delayed because we didn't have a dramatic collapse of Lake Chad. All the governors in all those states should bear serious responsibility for what is happening now in Nigeria.
The question is, who should be holding them responsible?
Well, the federal government itself should have been doing that if the federal government knew what it was doing. But in a situation where the federal government pretends as if they are not aware that the state governors themselves have either been incompetent or seriously corrupt. If you look at the amount of security votes in the Northeast and Northwest, which could have gone into development of the states, anything from between 300 to 700 million naira a month, not being put where it should be.
Right. And we can't even find it.
7, 8, 9, 10 billion.
Well, like you said, the federal government should also be asking them questions. Unfortunately, I don't see these conversations going on at all anywhere.
No.
Not at all.
Every time the budget is done every year at the federal level, the Minister of Education or the Minister of Youth or Science and Technology will come out and say, we declare X amount. They never call the commissioners of education, youth, industry, or whatever in the states, and especially in the states with the highest poverty, to say, guys, unless you make the investment, the federal government is going to have to invest in terms of defense and send soldiers to protect you from your own incompetence.
Well, let me read some comment from Facebook on our conversation so far. Mazi Obio Kereke says, this report of arms with civilians in Nigeria is so fearful and alarming with the way this country has been conducted. Will Nigeria be ever good again? Is there a future for unborn Nigerians in this country? Femi Taiwo says we all focus on the presidency, but exactly echoes Rotimi's opinion. But governors collect billions as security votes. What are they doing with the billions collected by these governors? Raphael Adegoke says still the government has not come up with cogent security measures to counter the insecurity. Let me see. Especially in the northern part of Nigeria, they think this is child's play until it gets out of hand. Matthew Nuhu Ungoina says, good morning, Wemimo and Rotimi. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you. Bob Lyrica says, the collapse of the country made the individuals ready to defend themselves He's saying individuals are getting those arms because they want to protect themselves. He says, take an example from Amoteku. Peter Ola will see you. Washima Frank, good morning, Wemimo. Wrote to me whenever you're not in the studio. I didn't miss your candid opinion. Wow, thank you. Igwe Prince, we see you also. Let's run through some other stories. Edo and Bayelsa states are still, there's a lot still going on down there, and I'm going to be taking these headlines relating to the APC in Edo, in Imo, Edo, Bayelsa State regarding elections. The Guardian has a story, why we are hopeful of removing Diri by APC. Silva urges calm, apologizes to Buhari. New governor promises inclusive government. I left government a fulfilled man, says Dixon. This is on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Similar story from the Vanguard. Edo 2020. Never again must we be divided, Obaseki tells Edo people. But it appears that some people are not happy with the APC national chairman. There's a big story here on the Daily Sun. Oshamale on the fire. Party leaders demand his sack. He's a threat to democracy, says CNPP. All of this. Oh my goodness. Another is a threat to democracy. Daily Sun with that one. Let's see the story also here on this day. Silva calls for calm, apologizes to Buhari over APC's loss of Bayelsa. Party writes INEC demands fresh election. That's a big one right there, demanding fresh election. Let's go on and see the story on the Daily Trust. APC demands fresh poll in Bayelsa. And Daily Independent, there's a story here. Imo Gubar in Imo State, Uzodinma asked Supreme Court to dismiss Ihedioa's motion. As Apex Court hears application for judgment review tomorrow, PDP governors meet back Ihedioa on review of judgment. And there's a similar one here. APC leadership deserves blame on Bayelsa governorship conundrum. That's from Sage, from the Daily Independent. Pretty interesting. Political parties, elections, and the outcomes.
Yes, I think more and more, more prominent figures in the government or APC are calling attention to the leadership of Oshiomhole. I mean, Festus Keyamo over the weekend said the situation in Bayelsa, that is what led to the disqualification of David Lyon. It's a matter that the APC should look inwards to try and sort out. Now, other people, not necessarily APC members, but senior government officials or advisors are also beginning to echo the same. I mean, you can see what happened in Zamfara, what happened in Bayelsa. It's like APC leadership took it for granted that they don't need to do due diligence in terms of screening of people that they are fielding or due diligence in terms of their primary. So that's something the party has to sort out internally. But be that as it may, what we are describing on the public square as the telenovela in Bayelsa is not yet over.
Right.
Because Timi Alaibe of the PDP has gone to court claiming that he actually won the primary, not Diri. And he has asked the Federal High Court to reinstate him as the governor. The same thing that happened, and Rotimi Amechi became governor in Rivers State. So the guy that was sworn in on Friday, I mean, if Timi Alaibe's move works out, the guy may just be there for maybe a month at most. At the same time, David Lyon has gone to the Supreme Court to seek for a review, which comes up to on the 18th.
Do you think that, I'm just wondering that maybe INEC or someone, this should be INEC, should have a penalty for political parties for wasting all of our time? I mean, some of them is just basic due diligence, other primaries like you mentioned. If they fail to do this, it's wasting the court's time, stress on the court, stress on everyone, just because the party failed to do what it should have done. Or do you think INEC is also culpable here, but should INEC verify, on behalf of the parties?
Well, the courts have ruled, because people went to court to say that INEC cannot, take decision based on primary. So INEC's hand is tied by the judicial process there. But I think that if we pay attention to the electoral reform and work on it properly, we should be able to arrive at a situation where any party that is unable to sort its primary properly should just be disqualified completely.
That just might work.
If that was the case, both PDP and APC will be out of the picture in Bayelsa. Because you can't have Timi Alaibe saying, well, the guy who was sworn in on Friday can't be the governor because he won the primary. And meanwhile, the guy has been sworn in. So if the guy is there for 2 or 3 weeks, a faction of his party can oust him. And then, if David Lyons' review is successful, he will then in turn oust Alaibe again.
I mean, it's pretty just messy. Like you said, it's like a movie playing out, and it's really not a pleasant one to watch.
No, we can't have a scenario in which people that haven't done due diligence for primary keep,
hold a whole stage to
everybody
ransom.
to hostage.
Absolutely.
Yes. The situation should just be, if your party messes up at the primary level, out.
Go sort it out and come back next time.
And then come back in 2023 or 2027.
Right. Maybe that will make them pay more attention. Let's say this story. Remember that there were diversions of flights from Lagos in the past few days. There's a big story here on the Daily Independent. Airlines lose 4.7 billion naira in 6 days to bad equipment and weather. NAMA fingered in current loss. If you've missed out on that story, I don't know where you've been, but activities have been paralyzed at the Murtala Muhammad Airport, Lagos, and other airports in the country for almost a week. The loss, however, apart from the ones incurred by government agencies in the sector, ground handling companies, catering services, fuel marketers, Murtala Muhammad Airport too, of course, would also feel this. Lagos and other auxiliary organizations in the industry shows that there's a loss amounting to about 4.7 billion naira just because we got equipment and we failed to calibrate this equipment and get it ready. I mean, we bought this equipment. We have it already.
The Nigerian political elite always find a new way to disappoint us every week. Look, Hamatan has been with us since time immemorial. For hundreds of years, everybody knows that there will be dust and haze and poor visibility. Everybody knows you need to install your instrument landing system. The planes should be able to land themselves in pitch darkness. And nobody is paying the price for this. The president has not fired anybody.
It appears that there's just apologies going on. We'll fix it. Nobody is being fingered to say.
Which apology? For the last 1 week or so, look, the so-called giant of Africa, the same Hamatan haze is affecting Ghana, affecting Benin, affecting Senegal. All the flights are being diverted there.
Right.
People coming to Nigeria are now going to those countries for unplanned holiday. In fact, some people have just been flown back to where they are coming from.
Yeah.
One week.
One full week.
1 week.
Well.
1 week. I mean, in this kind of scenario, by the second or third day, the Minister of Aviation should have been fired. Everybody that is in that entire value chain should have been fired. Something easily predictable.
Well, it doesn't look like they're going anywhere
any
soon.
Primary school child.
Right. It doesn't look like they're going anywhere soon.
In primary school, in secondary school, when I was in boarding school, Hamatan season like this, you plan in advance. You go and buy your Vaseline.
Yeah, because you know it's coming.
You know it is coming. You buy your Vaseline in advance for your dry lip, your chapped foot, and everything.
Well, let me take some comments on social media as we go now. Olaide Cruz says, I hope federal government can listen to Rotimi's review, take appropriate... Okay, I don't get this anymore. Okay, I don't get the rest of your message. But we also have Joy Forever says, on security issue and payment of salaries, unless God help us, it may get worse. I don't know what God is going to do for us, but you might tell me. PMB doesn't want reprisals, yet he's doing nothing to defend us. Northeast problem is what we failed to do at the right time. Our leaders have failed us. We also have this from MEM on Facebook. It says, Wemimo, I'm not understanding Don't bring back that grammar. I'm trying to get it out of my mouth. It says, first he fed and released deadly terrorists that have killed thousands and inject them back in the system. And now he's openly saying people should not kill them or touch them. What is the plan of the president, if I may ask? Rotimi. I'm not sure Rotimi is the president's spokesperson. He might not be in the best position to answer that. We really must go now. Rotimi, I hope you get in safely and in time. I hope the road is free now. Thank you so much for joining me on the front pages.
Thank you.
All right, Rotimi Sankore right there. Stuck in traffic. That has been dealt with a bit. When we come back, the Amotekun bill has been passed into law in Ekiti State. Let's talk about that. It's a 20-page document. Hey guys, if you're watching on Facebook, let me show you. How it go? Yeah, I have it right here. The Ekiti State Security Network Agency Bill 2020. Bam, 20-page document. Let's run through it together. If you're ready, I am just after this break. And I'll also be joined by the chairman of the House Committee on Security and Special Duties from the Ekiti State House of Assembly. He'll tell us why they passed this into law just in a moment. I'm Wemimo Adewuni. Join me again.